year 2017. Let's talk about...
yes. Now, I want to highlight the point that now his mandate was to use less executive powers as the president. That was the major commitment he has made. So towards that, he did his best to go ahead with this 19th Amendment and to dilute his powers. That he has done. Then he wanted to allow the two major parties to work together for a common cause. So he wanted to facilitate that process. That's how he felt. And for that reason, during the last 2 years, he tried to convince both parties, UNP led by the Prime Minister and also the senior ministers of the SLFPs, for them to have common understanding and work together. But that has not delivered the results. So during this year 2017, I think the President has to take another step forward to make sure that the government moves and that delivers results. For that reason, I think the President will take certain measures to make sure that the SLFP is coming up with certain policies and then negotiating with UNP. If there is no consensus, then he need to rethink how he is going to handle the Parliament, and those things will happen during this year. Definitely those things should happen before the local authority elections. So he has set his own timeline, so he has to work towards that.
Ms. Asoka Abeygunawardena, you said that the President has decided and he got a mandate to use his executive powers less, and that's what exactly the President did. He used less his executive powers as the President of the country. Has it worked in the year 2016?
That has not worked during 2015 and 2016. That's what I am saying, that he has to take another step, another move. Otherwise, the government cannot survive.
Thank you very much, Mr. Asoka Abeygunawardena. The President is blessed with executive powers, and Mr. Asoka Abeygunawardena is of the view that he should use it in the year 2017. Be the executive president of Sri Lanka. Right, so then let's move on to Mr. Lakshan Dias, representing Transparency International Sri Lanka. Where do you see 2017 as far as accountability, credibility, human rights, all that and more? Do you think we will make progress? Do you think next year at least we will see high, big-time politicians who robbed the country during the last 10 years or so? Will they be behind bars by the year 2017? Will the Attorney General's Department take action in the year 2017? Or are we going to talk about the failure of the Attorney General's Department, failure of the judicial system, failure of the politicians to do anything by the end of the year 2017? Your time starts now.
My wish is that they will do all these things. But if things are not happening as we expect, we also have to do something. It's my vow. I think when it comes to the mid of 2016, some of the my friends in the legal fraternity, they wanted to file cases against the Attorney General Department. We thought, okay, there's a new Attorney General Department, we'll give him a little more time. So next year, the time that we had to agitate or fight or challenge these structures, if things are not happening as we expect, as the change expect. So for me, the next year is a kind of test from the beginning. If things are not happening, we have to start our own challenges to the government, to the Attorney General Department, and also to the politicians. So I have no expectations that politicians will change by next year. They will be the same bunch of politicians, the greedy stomachs. So it's our role for the next year to challenge them. And I take the whole issue of these 58 vehicles. I mean, they are simple legislators. Why do they need vehicles to observe what? Are they doing at least their the given responsibility as legislators.
Well,
So
you said that a bait needs to be given to keep these
yes,
people.
that's what I'm saying. So if we are going to continue with baits like that for the next year also, then there should be some full stop for this next year. So I named the year 2017 as a year of people to take these things into their hand and challenge and try to make the change. If politicians are not doing it, because we have given 2 years to the politicians to do it, and if they are not doing it, we have to challenge. And we are also active people, active society and active citizens. If we are going to be a passive and silent citizens, then nothing will move, because they will enjoy every benefit of the country.
Would you be surprised, Ms. Das, if there is a minister or a politician involved behind this 58 vehicles that is to be purchased for parliamentarians? Would you be surprised that if there is a politician or a minister involved?
I'm not surprised, because the way how come all these 58 vehicles finally ended up with somebody's, the ownership will end up as a company? The ownership won't go back to the government. They are paying lease. Now, if you pay a lease of 7 lakhs for a vehicle that you purchase, end of the story, you get the vehicle into your hand. But knowing very clearly, how come it goes to end up in the hand of a company? 58 vehicles is a large amount of money. So I think this is where the people have to question, people have to correct things. Otherwise, we will give these politicians forever everything, and then they won't change, and they will get grabbed and plundering everything what we have.
The 58 vehicles would cost the government approximately 2.4 billion Sri Lankan rupees, to give some.
And those are not demo battas or 3-wheelers. These are luxury vehicles.
Luxury vehicles indeed is obviously not demo battas or 3-wheelers. It's all luxury vehicles for the 58 parliamentarians. Let's see what happens in the year 2017. Will they really get it, or will they use their old vehicles? So finally, we have Dr. W. Vijayawardena, former Deputy Governor of the Central Bank. Dr. Vijayawardena, the country's economy, I'm trying to figure out who should be held responsible for it. Those days it was the Minister of Finance who you could hold responsible for the finances of the country. Now you have the Prime Minister also somewhat having majority of control within the country's economy. And then you have another minister, Minister Kabir Hashim, also having some sort of grip. And then you have another minister, Minister of International Trade and Strategies, also having a grip of the country's economy. It's really a salad, isn't it? Very hard to chew. You have the tomatoes and the salad and the cheese and the onions all in different flavors in the salad. Can we sustain our country's economy by the year 2017? What is your take?
Well, it's a salad, as you say, Samir, but of course we have to understand that it's not a particular minister or particular prime minister who is responsible, it's the entire cabinet. If the cabinet has simply given powers to 1 or 2 ministers to take all the important economic decisions, finally it will be the whole cabinet which will be responsible. But now we have the executive presidency in the country, and eventually it will be the President Maithripala Sirisena who would be responsible for all the ills of the economy at the end of the period if he has not taken any action. So what we have to do is now we'll have to direct the government in the correct direction. As Mr. Lakshanda says, 2017 would be a year where the people will actually take the power into their own hands and force the government to lead the country in the proper direction. Today what is happening is that we have this vehicle issue. We have, before that, Samir, every minister was given 2 vehicles, 2 additional vehicles. So if it comes to vehicles and other perks of the ministers, what matters to us is that we are actually spending a hell of a lot of money to maintain a cabinet minister in this country, which is again we are outside the budgetary process, because most of the expenses that these people are incurring, they are categorized under different votes of different ministries of the government, and they are not in the same ministry. So what we have to do is, now Mr. Lakshandais is representing Transparency International. In the name of transparency, we will pay them a good salary, maybe 1 million rupees or 2 million rupees, and let us do with that. And they have to pay their own income tax out of that. They have to meet their own security arrangements out of that. They have to meet their transport out of that. They have to meet the residential facilities out of that. And that is the way that it should be run. And that is how Singapore became a developed country within a single generation, Samir. So we are losing everything.
Dr. Wijewardena, in conclusion, Sri Lanka's foreign reserves are at a very alarming state at present. It has been dropping significantly until June, then 3 to 4 months we saw somewhat of an increase, and then beginning November we see a drop again. End of 2017, will it further deplete?
Yeah, it will further deplete. Now in the case of these foreign reserves, Samir, again you can't go by the gross reserves. What you have to look at is the freely available reserves for Sri Lanka to make payments. That will come down to a level around $4 billion US, which is less than the total amount of money we have to spend on repaying foreign debt, which comes to about 4.2 billion within the next 12-month period. So that is why we have to borrow more in order to pay interest as well as repay the principal during the next 12-month period. Otherwise, what would happen is, by the middle of the year, the reserves will come down to a very critical level, and we will not be able to defend the Sri Lanka rupee at even 152 rupee level today.
The selling of the port in Hambantota, will this help?
It will help temporarily, Samir, because actually it will allow us to go through the difficult period, but that will not be the solution. The solution lies in introducing all kinds of economic reforms in the country.
Thank you very much, Dr. W. Wijewardena, for joining us this evening. Thank you very much, Mr. Lakshandais, attorney at law, for joining us on Face the Nation this evening. Dr. W. Wijewardena, former Deputy Governor of the Central Bank, as well as Mr. Asoka Gunawardena, Chairman of the Strategic Enterprise Management Agency, for joining us this evening. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us this evening. And thank you very much, Nadim. Thank you very much, Zulfiq, for joining us this evening as well. One thing is clear. Dr. Wijewardena said that respective governments have just been trying to live the day. They just put their hands into a cookie jar, take the cookie out, have it, and be satisfied. However, given the context of the present regime, it seems that every minister, every politician attached to the government is now trying to rob the cookies that is in the reserves. Is that the way that we have to move forward in the year 2017? A big question mark. However, I want to leave you tonight with some positivity. Although no one can go back and make a brand new start, anyone can start from now and make a brand new beginning. Some food for thought for the government of Sri Lanka. Something for the President and the Prime Minister to live by and take home tonight. 2017, let it be a prosperous year for you. May you be rich, and may the country go from one stripe to another. May Sri Lanka be transformed into a resplendent island, and may it be the eye of Asia, the miracle of the world. This is our nation, this is our land. We have to stand tall. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us in the year 2016. 2017, a brand new start, a brand new beginning. I assure you, we will be talking about your problems. 2017, prosperous year, happy new year. God bless and take care.